Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm with two very special guests from the music collective No Idol Music Group, TWIYA and StP.
Yeah, what's up?
Yes. So there's actually three of you guys. There's Devh also, but I interviewed him a few months back. So this interview is just for you guys, which is awesome. I like more people the merrier, you know? It's more thoughts coming together. It's great.
Totally. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and we have a fourth member that we just added in. She's in Baltimore, Roxanne Snow. So she'll be, breaking out with us sometime next month. So y'all look out for her. We'll have her up on our website and stuff so everybody gets to meet her. So, yep, we're getting over to the East Coast now.
Damn, that's dope. I didn't even know you guys had a website. When did you guys put up a website?
Oh, we've always had a website.
Yeah, we've had a website for like a week after we came up with it.
I had to switch it up, I switched it up. So everybody hasn't seen the new one yet, but it's noidolmusicgroup.com.
Dope. That's awesome. Dude, during this quarantine, I created my own website too, and those can be a bitch to make, but like after it's done, it's like a little baby of yours,
Oh yeah, she's always going back and like updating, trying to like make it look fresh and fire. Mm-hmm. And she's doing her job. It's looking fire. Yeah.
That's awesome. So is that your guys' baby or?
Yes, this is our baby. She's only 9 weeks, so she just got here.
Oh my gosh. She
just got here.
Yeah.
Was it scary? What were you saying?
Her name is Truth.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
No Idol baby.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you got to get a little like the onesie. It says No Idol on it.
Right. I'm working on a whole little line,
That's awesome. So was it scary to have a baby during this whole pandemic or?
Oh my God, it was so just all over. I was really sick too, so I had to go to the hospital a lot, and it was just awkward because, people in there, every time somebody do a little cough, then allergy season came around April, and it was like, oh, a little cough, a little sneeze. It was like, what's going on? You got the Rona? Everybody was like, mask. It was a lot. But I mean, I didn't want nobody to come to the delivery room low key because, I just didn't feel like it. So that was an easy excuse. Like, nope, you can only have one visitor. That's it. Can't nobody else come.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people are having their birthdays during the quarantine also. They're just like stuck at home. But
stuck alone.
Yeah.
Just with your one person.
So how'd you guys start your music group, by the way?
Well,
you can go ahead.
Okay, so it's a really long story, but it was like the time before time. I was just St. Pat, and I was trying to start a little crew of my own. That's how I got to Seattle, because I'm not from Seattle. But I ended up moving here to do music, and long story short, I ended up meeting some people, which led me to a producer. And then this producer and I tried to go into business together, but it didn't really work out. And we kind of fell out, basically. So because of all of that, I was angry at the whole, this is setting me back. So I recently, shortly before, we had ended up meeting at a show that we were both performing at. And we ended up kicking it off shortly down the line. But then because of all of the whole thing with the producer, I wanted to still get the business going, and I ended up becoming my own producer. And she was producing a little bit of her beats, but was still unfamiliar with some of the technology. So I ended up helping her out on that part. And then we just started No Idol Music and started producing our own.
Yeah, the thing about me is, I get stuff popping, anytime it's something that we need to do, I'm the person to get it done. We was like, hey, we're going to start a group. That was February. So by April, we was whipped into shape. We had a name, a logo, a launch party going, 2 projects out in 2 months. In 2 months, we learned how to produce, mix, master. Pretty much, 2 months we whipped it together. So, I mean, my name is TWIYA, y'all. That stands for The World Is Yours Always. So, I believe in making it happen. So that's the story. It was a 2-month process. I couldn't believe that we actually even did it. But I mean, it was a little bit spiteful.
Wow.
We had a point to prove, so we were like, yeah, we're not gonna let nothing hold us back, you know. So we were just like, we need to throw this together. You know, Devin is my brother. So
oh shit.
We were like, hey, Dev, you want to slide in? He was like, yep, let's do it. So all three of us were like, all right, let's do it. Let's make No Idol music. You know, it stands for, you know, no idol. Like, everybody is their own person. Everybody has something special, you know, to offer to the world, especially as artists, you know. And I felt like we all felt like in the industry, it's just like there's one kind of look, you know, there's like 3 people in the mainstream that get the attention and nobody else has a chance to like validate who they are, you know, as an artist and as a person. And that's where the name comes from. So it's like No Idol music. And we were feeling like that. So we were like, let's roll with that.
Yeah, and it's like kind of just like thinking back on it, we were really trying to like show everyone that it's really important to be yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what the system is set up to destroy. It's supposed to like destroy your individuality. It's set up to take away that thing that makes you great, you know what I'm saying? And then it turns you into something you're not, because it makes you believe that you're supposed to be the next Lil Wayne, because only people like Lil Wayne, you know what I'm saying? And I just picked Lil Wayne because he is one of the legends, you know, shout out to him. And but it's like, you know, it's not a bad thing to be yourself, you know. And that was what we're trying to like, you know, establish.
Yes, for sure. That's crazy that you guys are all like a family now then. Like literally.
Yeah, it's definitely a family business. I mean, Roxy Snow, who's in Baltimore, I grew up in Baltimore, so that's one of my childhood friends. So even she's a part of the family. So it's definitely a family gig.
So what brought you out here, TWIYA?
Well, I was born here. And then, you know, when we were younger, we just had, you know, some struggles, like, you know, with our family situation. So we moved to Baltimore to be taken care of by family out there when I was 11 and when Devh was 7. So he was there for a bit and then came back up here and I stayed. And then I came back as an adult. So I just been back for a couple of years now. But yeah, I spent my formative years on the East Coast.
Wow.
So.
Did you were you part of the music scene there also, or did you wait till you got back here, or?
Definitely a part of the art scene there. Like, I've always been an artist. I've always been, I started my life as a writer, as a young child. And then I moved into photography and then moved into film. So I was doing mostly like film, you know, I'm also a filmmaker.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started out my art world kind of more so in film and writing, and actually a part of the documentary program at the Maryland Institute College of Art. They gave 10 girls cameras. Oh, come on, girl. They gave 10 of us cameras and they kind of just like filmed us growing up. And that documentary is actually premiering on September 6th. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like all of my little ugly moments and stuff.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
What the
But
heck?
I'm really a part of like the art community there. But I didn't really start doing music until I came here because, you know, I was kind of shy and everything. And I just had to get a little older and kind of find myself. And that's kind of how I started to slightly, you know, just move into the music, start being more confident with it. And for like the last 2 years, I guess I've been working on my own music under the stage name TWIYA.
Wow. And you have a beautiful voice though, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I went through both your guys' catalogs and they're amazing.
Thank you.
Swag, appreciate it.
Yeah. So what's the difference between being like a collective and a group? Because when Devh described it, it was more like you guys were like a collective, and then like when I think of a group, like just off like the top of my head, like an Aesop Mob group, they're always together on songs. But you guys sometimes do solo things, and sometimes you are like feature on a song, or.
Well, the difference for us, I guess, as like a No Idol collective, we're our own like individual artists, but we're using each other as like a support group and a support system. So like you heard from TWIYA, we're all like multi-potentialites. Like we all do different things. Like I produce music, I rap, I'm kind of dabbling in singing. I have like, you know, a bunch of music equipment. I play saxophone. Like I draw and create like what's it called, our logos and stuff, some of our logos, and she does the same thing. She creates logos, produces beats. She's a filmmaker, you know, and so what we do is we just get together and help each other produce our music together, you know.
Yeah, so that's more of like the collective part, like having like, you know, one collective goal, you know, and working together on that, and like, you know, doing community projects and stuff like that together. But the group part applies too, because we do make music together. So it's kind of like when you do see anything that we do together. So when there is like, you know, when there was in-person events and everything last year, like if there's one of us there, like the whole group rows there, we kind of like are a unit in that sense, but we are also like, you know, celebrating like our individual goals and stuff. So we do our solo projects. But that's kind of like where it is. So we kind of operate like in two different realms, where it's like we're making the projects together and we're making music together. Like you'll hear a lot of my beats on Dev's project, or a lot of, you know, Pat featuring onto my songs or something like that. So a lot of the music is collaborative. And then as the collective, we support each other's projects. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have heard your guys' background vocals on each person's song and everything like that. Wow. That's great. So St. Pat, how'd you get your name, St. Pat? And why did you stylize it like that?
There's like layers to it. So my name's Patrick. That's like my government name. And thinking of like my stage name, I went through a lot of like, you know, rap names. Like one of my last rap names before St. Pat was like Savage Slim. That's what I called myself. And that was like when I was really young, and I was like, you know, and I was like, I was just trying to be hard and stuff, you know, rapper and stuff. But I like, after I started realizing that like I really wanted to put myself more into like my art and who I am and my image of like who I'm supposed to be, you know, I wanted to like leave a part of myself in the stage name. So like I came up with St. Pat, and then I stylized it, like I spelled it like that because I tried to be just like slightly different, and I wanted it to be like short and simple. And the reason why there's like no spaces and periods, because I wanted it to, like my name to model life, I guess, in a way. So there's no pauses or periods in life. Things just kind of keep going. So that's why it's just STP at. And then later on down the line, it became an acronym. And so like now it stands for Speak Truth, Pay Attention.
Wow. That's dope.
Yeah. Thank you. Like I was just trying to add layers, and like, because my music is spiritual to me. Like I like put a lot of my life journey into what I'm talking about and the things that I believe into my music. And I'm trying to create a vibe, and I want people to feel like who I am. And like, I'm trying to create that vibe off of who I am. So like every chance I get to put another layer on who I am, I just take that chance. So like,
yes, you always have to evolve as an artist. What I appreciate about your music also, it's almost like spoken word in some songs. Like it's a mixture. I like that a lot.
Thank you. I think stems really from like my origin as an artist, because I wasn't always a rapper. I started off as a poet. I was just writing poetry. And like I started writing poetry when I was 9. Wow. And like, as I just got older, I didn't show anyone my poems until like one day, like my best friend asked if he could read some of my poems. So I let him read it, and he was like, "Oh man, you should be a rapper, bro." And I was like, nah, I would suck at rapping. And then he like freestyled something, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that with words, bro. So I just like I just became a rapper that day. Like honestly, like that's how it happened. Like, and then ever since then, I started, you know, picking up other parts of my musicianhood. Like I started playing saxophone, and then picked up beat making later on down the line. The rest is history, you know.
Wow. So what intrigued you to move here to Seattle?
So went to college in Tuskegee University, Alabama.
Yeah.
And like, I made it to Alabama because I grew up overseas, and my mom felt like because I grew up overseas, I'm a military brat. Mm-hmm. So because I grew up overseas, my mom felt like I should be around like my people. So I went to a HBCU, and there I met a rapper who graduated from Tuskegee, and he moved up here, and he was trying to start his own label up here. He asked me to be a part of the label, but I told him, no, I don't want to be a part of the label, but I want to like help you get your business established, because I'm trying to like have my own label. So I would like love to see how it's done before I do it, you know? So that's why I came up here to help the homie. Then long story short, life happened. We ended up like separating. I ended up like being homeless for a little bit of a time. And yeah, then I went back to school up here. But like, long story short, like that's how it happened. My friend moved up here. I moved back to Guam for a little bit, and then came to Seattle, you know, to just start my music career. And been here ever since, really.
Wow. So you guys are both pretty cultured then.
We've been moving around.
I mean, yeah, I've been all over.
Around everywhere.
Over the place, so.
Dragged around.
So when it comes to your group, do you guys not need to outsource at all then? Because you guys know how to do everything, or?
Right. That's the main thing. Yeah, we do everything in-house, like all the flyers, logos, videos.
DIY.
The beats. Like all my beats, I make all my beats, or I collaborate with him on the beats, and vice versa. And Pat's been engineering, so yeah, all the mixing, mastering, post-production stuff. The website, the photography is done by me, so pretty much, yeah, I don't think we've outsourced anything so far.
Wow.
I think Devh collaborates with different people sometimes, but as definitely us, it's all the two of us doing everything. And Jen just dragging Devin into it and getting him to do the group projects and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty much all in-house.
Is there anything you guys have like been focusing on learning during this whole quarantine, or?
The equipment, like we brought a bunch of new equipment. So like learning about like how to mix, like on the mixing boards and stuff. That's not my forte. I'm not gonna lie. Like that kind of stuff is not, it's not for me. I had to learn the beat making out of spite, to be honest. I was like never thinking that I would like take the time. So that stuff does not come naturally to me. So it's definitely mostly Pat learning it and then teaching it to me. But I guess you could talk about that more.
I mean, yeah, for me, the thing that I was focused on learning is like getting more in depth with the mixing and mastering process, because I went to school for a little bit before the school shut down, Art Institute of Seattle. I was like a sound production major.
Wow.
So like they taught me the technology, the DAWs and stuff, and I work on FL Studio. So
Same.
Like what I do is like I'm a lot of my knowledge is self-taught. I did learn a lot from Art Institute of Seattle. So I'm grateful for that, because that like opened my eyes to like how to use it more efficient, how to use my equipment more efficiently. And then after that, that made me like aspire to get my own hardware, because I wanted to have like that analog sound, because like people, although they aren't aware of what they're listening to most of the time, like a lot of people like the analog sound more than the digital sound, because it just sounds more authentic. And so that's like the thing I've been focused on learning about, how to get that authentic sound and creating my own sound, like, you know, Timberland, Missy Elliott, and all the great producers. They came up with their own little vibe, and that's what I'm trying to focus on.
Yeah, because one thing I noticed, like newer artists, is they kind of stick to reverb or anything, and then as they get more comfortable, sometimes they lean away from it. But I think like, why don't you just start music without reverb and just learn your voice right off the bat, versus like someone telling you like 2 years down the road, oh, maybe you don't need reverb in the first place. It's just a whole mess, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness. I ran into some producers who was like claiming they was the best producers, and then we give them something and then it's nothing but reverb. And I was like, oh my goodness, bro.
Ears, I can't.
It's crazy, but like I feel that with my soul.
It just like lowers my opinions of people, kind of. I'm not even trying to be rude about it, just.
Yeah, and then it's just because like it's one of those things where it's like everybody's trying to be self-taught, and it's like no shame to the self-taught people because I'm self-taught, you know, but it's like you have to be aware of like what you're learning and why you're doing the things you're doing. And it's like I've caught myself doing it like at the first, like when I first started researching, like at the very beginning of like my research career, because I started researching at a young age, a bunch of different random stuff. And like when I first started researching stuff, I would just like kind of just take a couple of videos and a couple of articles, and if they kind of aligned with each other, not thinking that, well, there's two different sides to any story, really, you know what I'm saying? And there's always going to be like the pros and cons, and I wasn't thinking that in depth at that aspect of the research. So like I would go out of my way now to research as many different people to see like the similarities and the differences of what they're saying. And you can kind of weed out the BS that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, because there's only going to be a handful of people that are telling you the right shit, you know what I'm saying? And like you can hear, especially like being an engineer and a musician, you can hear the difference of like what's being done versus the other not so good stuff. So it's like you just got to do that research as well as the ear training comes along with the research, because I've listened to so much music.
You have to listen. Yeah, you really have to listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's almost like listening to like a motivational speaker. So they seem like they know what they're talking about, but they have like no idea what they're actually talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Break it down.
Yeah, and then it's like the more you listen to people like that, the more you're able to see, okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yes.
Okay. You see that inflection in his voice? He's doing that to distract us. Like, yeah, I'd be on.
Yeah. So TWIYA, when it comes to like film, my previous guest, Astro Fame, that was like a week ago. She was saying that when it comes to like bigger film projects, a lot of things aren't shot in Seattle because of the taxes. What are your opinions on all that?
I'm not really familiar with that because most of the things that I do is more so like experimental or like documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I know that like with the Northwest Film Project and stuff like that, they like try to like help offset a lot of that. But I have heard that like as far as because they really do a lot with the permits and stuff here. They make it kind of difficult. You have to have like the bang to shoot like narrative type stuff, like especially like in the big parts of Seattle, like the inner parts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I don't really do too much with the narrative. So it's mostly documentary. So, you know, you can kind of slide. You don't really have to pay.
Yeah.
You really have to pay for like documentary style stuff. You just kind of like slide in there discreetly with a small enough camera.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still with the DIY, with the, you know, undercover kind of film work.
Yeah. So what is your advice when it comes to like cameras? Because I know some photographers and videographers, they know every single camera. Like it's like when like for me, the first thing I notice on someone is honestly like their shoes, because I have like a huge shoe collection.
Mm-hmm.
And then like videographers, photographers, the first thing they notice is like, oh, so what type of camera do you have? Oh, I have this camera. Are you kind of like that person also, or?
I mean, I'm partial to Canons. Like but that's just because that's what I was like raised using. Like I have a Canon 70D, and it's just because the photography is like so beautiful on that camera, but also the video too. Is for somebody who is like just starting out or is still kind of like a DIY kind of person, and you just need like a starter, you know, something that's like powerful enough to shoot like really good video and photography. Like that Canon, the 70D or even a 60D if it's, you know, but a 70D is like, you know, that's where it's at. That's what I started shooting on, and that's the one that I have. But I think most of the documentary work, especially in the film, like if you get a chance to see it, I'll send you the link.
Yes,
the
I want to watch
that we've been filming since we were like 12. Like most of that work was done on like Sony HDs. Wow. But I just do not like Nikons. So maybe I'm snobby. I don't like them.
Yeah,
I don't think they're like user friendly.
Yeah, like there's even when it comes to like software, sometimes like I've been using DaVinci Resolve for like film editing, and like the learning curve is huge. So I feel like the same thing like with an actual product.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just like lazy or what, but I don't like, it has to be like user friendly. I'm not the kind of person who's like super tech snobby. So it's like, I'm not about to go in and like change all the settings and like want to be able to do all of that. Like if I have to like do all that, I'm like, this is not as good as a product as something where it's more like drag and drop and like anybody can learn how to do it. I feel like that's more useful for me. So I don't know. We learned on Final Cut before people started hating on it.
Yeah.
So mostly like Premiere, and I think I forget the name of the new one that they've been teaching in the film schools, because I guess now apparently Premiere is about to get extended, so we'll see what they do. Yeah, there's like a new program that they've been like rolling out to all like the freshmen like film students and stuff. So I think Premiere, they're about to like start hating on Premiere now. So I'm like, I mean, maybe I'll just be one of them old heads who just like, you need that Final Cut. Like,
dude, it's crazy how expensive freaking software is though. Whether it's like FL Studio or anything, they like, the prices are insane.
Yeah, they be taxing, but that's why I appreciate Adobe, what they do. You know, I feel like, you know, they're kind of more like community oriented in that way, because you don't have to get the whole project. You know, you don't need to buy the whole software for $800. You know, you can pay monthly for that. So that's what I appreciate. I just appreciate Adobe because they be making it work.
Seriously, I just looked up the FL20. It's like $300.
Oh
yeah, gosh. I bought it because I need it, but like I'm like,
seriously, right? Oh my gosh.
See, man, that's why I'm like, I just started learning how to produce, because I was like, I don't know about that. I'm just be sticking to these films. Pay my little $10 a month for my Adobe suite.
So tell me more about this documentary. So you said you started filming it when you were 12?
Yeah, when I was 12. So basically out of Maryland Institute College of Art, there is a big film making program there. And just long story short, the name of the documentary is called Anatomy of Wings, because the name of the program that we did after school from, you know, through middle school, high school, and a little bit after that, was called Finding Your Wings. So there was 10 girls growing up in Baltimore, East and West. And they pretty much just gave us a camera. We were meeting as a group, just like as the girls, you know, after school program. And it just turned into more of like a radical space of like, you know, we talked a lot about, you know, who we are as people. It was a big group. It transcended like race lines, and Baltimore is really segregated. So it was kind of like a big deal at the time to have like, you know, students who were going to the school who are, you know, like mostly white students and interacting with like these urban, like inner city girls who, you know, we hadn't interacted with the college at all, which is weird because it's like in the middle of the city. So it was just it kind of created a big discussion about like, you know, privilege and, you know, art and the spaces that exist in a city like Baltimore, where, you know, having accessibility to that, like the actual citizens of the city having accessibility to that space. So we kind of brought our little selves in there with our cameras and just kind of started filming our lives, and the story just unfolds. We grow up along the course. So you see all my little, you know, ugly preteen moments and stuff, but it just really comes out as like, you know, a story of like, you know, radical acceptance and like being seen and heard, and how do you like expand a person into their whole self. So it kind of just, you know, it's like a mentorship model, but it's also just a story, you know. It's a story about 10 girls growing up in the city and our mentors, and they became our family. And what can you learn from other people when you give them, you know, the validation, and you validate people for who they are. And I think it's crazy watching it now that No Idol is kind of like coming up and doing our thing, because it really does show like how like that group kind of shaped like the mission of No Idol music too, like, and who I am as a person, you know, with The World Is Yours Always. It's like I never really noticed like how that group really affected me, but I think it really shaped a lot of my ideologies. And so you guys should watch it. It's premiering at the Black Film Supremacy Film Festival. Ooh. So we're really excited. It's the festival's closer, so it's really special. Wow. We're closing the festival on Sunday, September 6th. We just got our times gonna be, I think it's 5 p.m. So that's 8 p.m. Eastern time. So it's 5 p.m. 5 p.m. West Coast time. And y'all can find more info. I'll be posting it on my website, and I'll post it on my Instagram, which is at TWIYA Music.
So when did they stop? Like, when did you guys stop recording it? Like, how old were you when you?
I think the last shoot that they did of me, they flew to Seattle to see me and what I was doing with my life now, and I was like 21. So I think they filmed from 12 to 21, 22.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like my whole, it's like your whole life in an hour. It's really crazy to watch.
Dang. So are they streaming it, or how are you gonna be able to watch it if you're not in Baltimore?
It's gonna be virtual.
Okay.
Yep. So they're gonna stream it online. So I think Thursday is when you can like get on and like get tickets and stuff like that. So. Yep, and I'm gonna post up the info as soon as they give it to me. I was so excited to announce it. I mean, I'm just so dope. Like, it's the Black Film Supremacy Festival. Like, where else the better place for us to premiere, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you guys go to any of the Seattle film festivals they have around here, or?
I've been looking at some of the virtual ones. I've been missing them just because, you know, we just had the baby, and I'm always like putting stuff on the calendar and looking at it the next day like, oh, that was yesterday. Wow. They've been doing most of them online around here too. It's crazy how like the Rona has like transformed everything, but it feels like you can attend way more things now though at the same time. So it's like.
So how do you guys think your new child's gonna affect your music? Do you think it's gonna help you guys grow, or love to hear both your guys' opinion on that?
Totally gonna help us grow, definitely, because I feel like it's going to make me personally more in tune with my music, only because like I really want her to be like a musician, and not necessarily just a musician, but I want her to be able to like express herself. And I feel like the only way, you know, you can teach somebody how to express themselves is by doing it in front of them, expressing yourself in front of them all the time, you know? So like every time I get the chance when she's awake, like she's in the studio with me and like laying there watching me mix and master. And the other day
she's really alert and like nosy, so.
Yeah, the other day she was recording some music and like she was listening to her sing in the microphone. So, you know,
it definitely makes you think more about the legacy, you know, like I think as artists, like that's what we think about all the time anyway. Like, what am I leaving behind, you know? Like, what am I putting in the world that's going to be there always? And I think having her just makes me think about that a lot more, because it's like anytime I'm making a project, I'm like, she's going to hear it. And I want her to, you know, think about the time that it was that we made it and, you know, what it meant to us as artists and who we are right now. And like, not just as her parents, but as who we are, you know, because I think people don't really realize or think about their parents as people. And I think, you know, like you think, you know, your parents are your parents, but you never really interact with them as like themselves. Like, you know, you interact with them as like mom or dad. So I want her to be able to get to know us more as who we are, you know, through our music and stuff. So I think it makes me think about that a lot more, like putting myself into my music and my art more.
Definitely.
Like lyric wise, I don't really think you guys are that vulgar either. Like you guys, I really appreciate your lyrics also. It's not like squeaky clean, but like it fits, you know?
Woo, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, we try to get the themes across, you know, but I want everybody to be able to hear it. I don't want to, you know, I'm not like that much of like, I mean, I'm a blunt person, like a bold person, but I'm kind of like an introvert too. So I don't want to make anything where it's like awk to play, like
Cardi B's new song, WAP. Have you guys heard that song?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right, like that's they can do their thing, you know what I'm saying? More power to them, but it's not me. Like I'll be like just feeling awk. I don't want to be able to like, I want everybody to blast it. I want them to blast it at the community center. I want them to be able to blast it, you know, to their grandma, like without me feeling awk. That's all I want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. For me, it's like a line that I like I'm constantly aware of, honestly, because it's like, especially with the new music I'm releasing, it's like politically charged and racially charged music, you know, and it's like a statement, and I don't use like curse words all too much, but here and there I'll like use, like I'll just drop one here and there, especially like in those songs. And I did it like purposely because I want people to like be aware of the raw emotion that I'm feeling, like,
Right.
and like, because it is like one thing, because when I was younger as a rapper, I tried to like be more mainstream, I guess, in a way, by like writing things that I think people would like, you know, because I wanted people to like it. So I would rap about everything that rappers would rap about, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But then it was like, I didn't like rapping like that. So I ended up changing it, and like the music that I've released is like, fits more of my personality. But when I first started like rapping in front of people, I was super vulgar, you know what I'm saying? And looking back on it, like, you wouldn't even think that I was like that kind of person, but like, you know what I'm saying? But we all like have like our growth periods and everything.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to censor yourself, but you want to be intentional too, you know?
Yeah, and that's for lack of better explanation, that's what I was trying to say, you know, not trying to censor myself, like, especially when in the moments where I need not to be censored, right. You know,
but be authentic at the same time. Like,
for sure. Do you guys ever butt heads artistically?
Butt heads, I guess, like, you know, I'm very like, I'm the ear of the group, I think. And, you know, I'm also a Sagittarius, you know, so it's like, you know, it's just going to come out. I'll be letting everybody know, you know, y'all can let me know, you know, but I, you know, sometimes, you know, it's just not it for me, and I got to let them know. Or sometimes I'm letting somebody know, you know, I heard something that was a little off key, or I heard something that was a little off pitch. You know, I was a choir student, so I'm like, I heard something. Everybody's annoyed because they're like, I got to sing it again. I'm like, sing it again. We got to remix it again because I heard something, like. Yeah. I don't know. That's just me. Like, I'm just like always like, I'm the nitpicker, but I think it's for the better good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I'm like, I don't know what you meant by that line, and they just get mad.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I would just. Yeah, I get annoyed sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, so, like, if you ever heard Afronauts, that's like a lot of people's like favorite song when we be performing it. And like, when I first wrote that verse, she didn't like the verse. She didn't like the verse. And like, it made me feel some sort of way. And I was like, you didn't like the verse? This shit fire, bro.
Yeah, I was like, it's not me.
Yeah, then she was like, it's not me. And it's not good. So then I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm gonna rap this verse because I know in my heart and soul that it's fire. And then like,
after it was actually on the track, I was like, hold on, this kind of fire.
Yeah, you know, she had to hear it back real quick, and she was like, damn, did you just say that? Shit, that's fire. And I was like, I know. You was trying to get me to change it.
But you gotta have those people around, you know, because sometimes, you know, if looking over it again is all you need to get that extra little, you know, juice, you know, that extra little spark. And then sometimes I'm not right. It is what it is, you know.
Wow. So with your guys' studio, is it in-house, or do you guys have to travel somewhere, or?
It is in-house. It's right over there in the other room.
Wow.
And it's so great because, you know, I work better in the middle of the night. Like, I'm like a night owl, so that just works out so good for me because, you know, ain't nobody got time, you traveling, and then you got to stick to people's hours, and, you know, it's hours, you know, so we don't have to pay hourly or nothing like that. We can just go in there and, like, take as much time as we need and come back to it in the middle of the night or something, so it's just really nice. It was a great investment. Yeah.
Seriously, I invested a lot of time, effort, and money into that studio, and it was like, I was so proud of it too, because like ever since I was 17, I had my own studio, and like my first studio was my laptop, like what was it called? The hotspot, that hotspot box. It was a laptop, a hotspot box, a 2x2 interface, and a GarageBand mic.
I used to sing onto the laptop microphone. You know how the laptop got the built-in mic? I used to sing on that in Audacity and like mix it. It was kind of good though at the same time. I was like, hey, but then I was like, you know, I can't be singing it. Like, I have some old tracks that I saved so I can remember how I used to pick up the laptop and like sing into it.
My first project that I released was mixed on Audacity.
On the Guitar
bro.
Hero microphone?
It was on the Guitar Hero microphone mixed on Audacity, bro. Like,
that's
Wow.
that DIY life, though. That's where
Yeah.
you come up from. That's how you learn.
That's crazy. Holding it up to your face. That's so funny. So what does Devh do?
Man, you should hear the stuff that she was recording. It was all a cappella. She had like 8, 9, 10, 11 layers
Because I
of her
was too
just her
lazy.
voice.
I was too lazy to learn how to produce the beats, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me just sing it a cappella. So I would like sing all the harmonies in the background and like beatbox and stuff to like make the song. So I was like, I'm gonna make the song, but I'm not gonna take the time to learn how to make the beat. But I used to make the beat. Like I used to use my voice as the instrument for the show. Like
that's so funny.
I used to spend hours doing that.
Does Devh come to your guys' studio, or does he have his own studio also, or how does that work?
Well, we just got ours, so he hasn't sang in it yet. So we shall see. Yeah, coming up, he'll be able to come use ours. I think he's just been like collaborating, you know, with like local studios and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we had just recently moved here, but when we were in the other place, I'm not sure.
He recorded like 2 or 3
a couple
tracks
of songs
on his project at the old like little studio setup that we had where we recorded our projects. We had like a little studio setup, but we just like upgraded everything. Yeah. So it's about to be.
And he ain't sang on the upgraded version yet.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like definitely stay tuned. Like we have a new like a concert series that we're doing called Afronauts Lounge, and it's like gonna be like hosted by me, and we're gonna have it once a month online. And all of that, we're trying to do like a new song every month or something crazy, like a challenge for ourselves to like, you know, put out some new music or like a remix or a collab or something. And it's going to be recorded in-house, all in-house. So you'll get a chance to hear what we're working with in the studio and watch the skills glow up, because it's still a learning process, you know? So the hope is that every month, like it sounds better and better.
Do you guys know who the Martial Law Band is?
Yeah, we do.
So they have this live stream called The Cure on Facebook, and they like created like their own little like commercials and stuff, and I thought that was so cool.
Yep.
Like,
see,
I'm the same, but I was thinking about doing the same thing too. Like,
we love them. And Martian's super cool. Like we've had a chance to cross paths with them a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I want to somehow start doing like skits or collaborations with people in that way, like making like little movies. Like I already got some photo shoot lights, I got a green screen, invest into some more things. But I feel like that'd be cool. Like there's so many ways to collaborate people besides just musically, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and that's something that we like definitely learned over the period of like establishing who we are as No Idol Music, because product placement is key, boy. That's where it is at. And it's like
interdisciplinary.
You know, and the interdisciplinary skill set is what people like, you know, like we all make a video go viral if it's a good song and a dope video, but it takes hella people to make the video and hella people to make the actual song, the beats, mixing, mastering, all that stuff. So it's like we had to rethink how we were collabing with people, you know. So that was definitely a learning process. But
dude, I get so much inspiration from Adult Swim. That channel is so nuts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like the little, it's funny because like even how they like product place themselves, like the stream commercial that they do.
Yes.
It's just the actual stream. Like, and I'm like, because I never know, like one day I just randomly just decided to analyze it. And I was like, what's going on? Why do they keep doing that? And then like, it says like, stream us. And then like, it'll be Adult Swim somewhere. And I was like,
and the like box thing.
These guys. I was like, these guys, dude, they're good. Like, and it's just funny.
Yeah, if you stay up late enough, they have like these fake infomercials they put on. And it'll be like very serious, and then they'll start talking about how like they eat babies and stuff, and I'll be like, "What the heck just happened?" And you're like, "Okay, this is a fake commercial now." It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, and then like, you know, Childish Gambino, when he was like making his ATL and stuff, like he was coming out with his own commercials in between, like as the episodes in the ATL, like there was. And I thought that was very creative. Like there was a whole episode where it had the commercials built into the. I was like,
Or Tropic. Have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I have.
Dude, those commercials, those previews at the beginning were so freaking funny.
Yeah,
man. She's laughing like she knows something about Tropic Thunder.
So, is there any advice that you guys have for like people who want to create their own studio? Because I feel like there's a lot of work that goes into it. Like when I like a month or two ago, I was thinking because like I said, I'm recording in my freaking guest bedroom right now for my podcast, and I was like thinking about like soundproofing it, and I did like a lot of research because I thought that those like black foam squares you have count like they can buy or like counts as soundproofing, but that's not actually soundproofing. It just like helps the vocals bounce off better or something like that, or like the thing.
Yeah, there's like a difference between like soundproofing and acoustic paneling, and like I got that confused too, not gonna lie. But like soundproofing is what it is. It's like you put the pads on the walls so people outside of the room won't be able to hear what's going on inside of the room, you know. But acoustic paneling is and acoustic absorption. That's what like the music studios and music booths and stuff they have on the walls, because it absorbs the frequency so it doesn't bounce back the reflections, because the reflections are also recorded, picked up by the microphone. And like I'm kind of nerdy, so I can go like all day with like sound and stuff. But like that's basically what it is. Like it's to prevent the reflections from coming back and being picked up by the microphone, so you can just pick up the source sound, because the reflections create more reverb and more bass than you want it. And yeah, creates other issues, phasing issues and shit. Like,
also with the mic too, because remember you did a bunch of research like on the mics and stuff, and it's like if you're gonna be starting your studio mostly to record other people, I guess there's like a different process you would go about selecting the mic. But I think doing a lot of research about your own voice, like me, since I'm a vocalist, like there's certain, there is a certain voice type that I have that sounds better with a certain kind of mic versus a different kind of mic. So we had to kind of think about like, I'm a lyric mezzo soprano, but Devh is like a bass. So it's like if we're gonna have Devh too, in the studio, like what kind of mic would work for both his voice and my voice? Because it's like we have very different voices. So thinking about that too, like what you're gonna actually be doing in your studio.
Yeah, and like just a little tidbit on that, microphones, that's very important, because it's like there is a microphone for anything basically. And it's like it doesn't matter like how cheap it is. Like there is quality advantages for spending that money. That's always like a good investment. But like what she was saying, like as a rapper, I could use the same microphone, because we use the same microphone like for everything, and because that was like the best microphone for what we were using. But there are like mics that are specifically made for like rapper vocals, you know what I'm saying? And then there are mics that are specifically made for R&B vocals, and like rock and roll vocals and stuff. And it's like they pick up different frequencies in your voice because it has a because rock and roll has a signature sound, and rap has a signature sound, and that's like what you're using or what you're doing when you pick the microphones. You're like picking that sound to record. So it's like a different way to warp your voice and change it and pick up the different frequencies. Because if you wanted to, you can use an R&B mic to rap on, depending on how you wanted it to sound. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's where you get your sound from, like different little stuff like that.
Yes, dude, microphones vary so much. I was because I like focus on like podcasting mics, and I was researching like the mics that Joe Rogan uses. Dude, each mic, he has like I think he could fit up to like 7 people or something in his like studio, and like each mic I looked up, they're like $300 each. I'm like, holy shit, crazy expensive.
Like, there's so many, and then there's like so many like nuanced ones, and it's just a lot.
Yeah, and then there are microphones that are based on. Yeah, there are microphones that are like $3,000, $4,000 that are based on super old microphones that old people like I don't want to call them old, but Stevie Wonder, experienced people like Stevie Wonder and sang on thousands of times. They like That's why they're so expensive, because they try to recreate the sound of that one microphone.
Wow.
Yeah,
I get
it's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, but it also, like, people sometimes feel like if they have like the best products, that's gonna make them a good musician. You have to actually be a good musician too, you know?
Yeah. And then it's like you have to figure out like your strengths and weaknesses, because that's another thing that I would suggest, like especially going into like getting your equipment, like your strengths and weaknesses in your voice and like the things that you like in your sound, that makes a difference in every piece of equipment that you get. Because I was looking up like compressors and stuff and different mixers, and each mixer has its own signature sound, and they work differently with other different pieces of equipment. So that's something you got to keep in mind too.
Yeah, or just get yourself a St. Pat, because
Oh yeah.
I ain't gonna do all that.
Dude,
I ain't gonna do all that. I'm sorry.
you guys could literally be like music tutors for people. You could do that during freaking quarantine. Just be like,
Right, exactly, yeah.
Oh,
You can do
man.
like the composition or something.
Yeah.
You can do all the like production. Start a little online. You know how they be like bugging with those little online classes, like take my course today. That's gonna be
yes.
that's
Have
on the
1-800.
Facebook ad.
Yeah, dude, I love how you guys like went to school for what you guys want to do though. Like that, like school is not for everyone, but when you're able to find what your passion is and then go to school for that, you save
Yes.
money, but also like you know that it's like an actual investment versus going to
Oh,
school.
And you
yeah.
save time, because
Mhm.
like that's the one thing like I would say, like anybody listening, like if you're like, I don't want to go to school is a waste of time or something, or it's just like, it's a lot of money and I'm like a musician, like the best thing I could have did for myself was go to art school. Like I did attend Maryland Institute College of Art I went for 1 year before I came up here, and that's the best thing I could have done, because like not only is it an opportunity to like, you're going to get a degree in something, but even if you don't finish, like if you go, you're giving yourself access to like things that you probably can't afford to have access to. Like I had my hands on $10,000-$15,000 cameras. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you get access to the professors, you can learn whatever you need to learn. Like you building your network, like that's the main thing that you get from going to school. Like, even if you're not, you have to take the foundational classes. Like I was a film major, but I had to take drawing, I had to take sculpture, all this other like stuff that I thought was a bunch of bullshit. But I worked in the video cage, so like I was like messing around with all kinds of cameras, like things that I would have never like had access to. So I think the main thing with college is like accessibility, especially when you're coming from like, the inner city, or you coming from like a lower income, you coming from these places where you don't have access to that kind of stuff, like those resources and access to like those professors. Like that's what you're going to school for. That's what you're paying for. So that's like one way to look at it. That's what I've been telling like, all the students that I've worked with and stuff, like go so you can get your foot in, so you can learn the basics at least, so you can get access to that equipment, like those studios, like that's what you need.
For sure. So how do you guys promote your music? Like, do you guys make sure you're connecting with the Seattle music scene and going to concerts and everything like that? Or how do you guys go about it?
For me, well, recently we actually like laid down this little template, this little outline for how we're about to promote our stuff, you know what
Vision
I'm saying?
board.
So, like we're trying to like take a step back and start promoting a couple of, or like a month and a half out before we actually release it. And that's like a technique that we're trying to like implement with our future projects, because we've for me personally, I would record some stuff, get it mixed and mastered, and when I feel like it's right, I would drop that piece.
Like,
and I'd be
drop it.
like, you know what? Hey, I just dropped
dropped.
some shit. Just go listen to it. It's fire, And it's like doing all of that promo after the fact, it's kind of unmotivating for me, because I like to make new stuff.
Right, once you drop it, you gotta move on to something else.
So once I drop it, I'm like, okay, here, go listen to it. I'm gonna go back into the cave. Peace. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so like me realizing that about myself and not liking to promote too much after the fact. Now, like I'm trying to focus on promoting before the fact, because now it's like a thing that's about to come out. So be prepared, you know what I'm saying? And that allows me to like really strategically use like the marketing and advertising skills that we've been researching like in different ways, you know, because after the fact, it's already old, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just figuring it out how to actually like promote it. Like, I don't know, like I'm an introvert, a little bit of an extroverted introvert, but very much an introvert. So like social media has like not been the place, but you know, everybody's on. And like, we got to figure out like how, that's why we're doing this online concert thing. Cause it's like, you know, trying to figure out how to like connect with people, like not in person has been like, that's what's been the challenge for me. Cause I think in person, like I'm cool, you know, but like, I don't really post so much like online. So trying to figure out now, definitely during Rona, like how to promote to people and like connect with people, like trying to find like, you know, virtual open mics, like places for us to show up at. I think it's been like the main thing.
Yeah, but before Rana, like just to like specifically answer the question that was asked, like when I would promote, I would go out to open mics and perform everywhere. You know, that would be like the main thing for me, because I feel as though open mics is the place that you can go and be around people like you, music lovers, you know what I'm saying? Because anywhere else, you know, anywhere else is like a hit or miss kind of thing. Like you have to go to open mics, concerts, and places where only music lovers will go, you know? Because like I've even tried, you know, going on the streets and like slinging some stuff before, and like that's well and good, and you can make some profit off of that, but it feels awkward for me because I feel like people are going somewhere, and I feel like people are doing something, and I feel like I'm interrupting their life.
It's not the purpose.
You know, and that's the only downside of being out in front of people during the day.
It works for some people, but you gotta be a shark.
Yeah, you gotta be like, hey,
like, swoop, here's the album.
Hey,
like,
so I heard you don't like music. Well, you ain't heard the right music. Check this out. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah. So where do you recommend people go if they want to find all these like open mics? Well, currently you can't go to open mics, but like beforehand, where would you guys go to find open mics?
I've been searching the hashtags, like hashtag open mic, like Seattle, because people post like themselves at the open mics and stuff. Like they'll post on their Instagram or something like, hey, I was at hashtag this open mic or whatever. And so that's how I kind of like swooped on other people's posts and seeing where they was going so I could go.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would look up like online, it's like Seattle Times or something, like the Stranger, yes, the Stranger. Yeah, they would post like the events on the Stranger and stuff, and so and they do it online too, because you know it's 2020 out here, everything's digital.
Barely.
But like I would go on Google. I would go on Google and basically like research the Stranger and like music festivals, music events, like open mics and stuff. And then it would pull up a schedule of a bunch of open mics and the events and when they're going to be. And if they're weekly, it'd be on the schedule. And like, honestly, when I first started it out, I would like have a whole monthly schedule of open mics and like kind of just pick which one I wanted to go to. Based on like if it's weekly or
try to commit to like being in the same place at the same time consistently, so people kind of like know where they can like find you and like connect with you.
Yeah, it's nuts that we can't do that anymore right now. That is so.
Yeah, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, it's like
I took it for granted, especially being
everyone
like
did.
In the house person. Like I was an in the house person, so I'll skip stuff a lot. I took it for granted. I so like miss it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, now you got to get creative with like your online presence, because it's like your online presence is your only presence now.
Yeah, you're gonna see who's been working during this quarantine versus the people who haven't, because there's gonna be some people coming out of this whole thing way better artists than they were before. It's a whole other level.
Oh my goodness, and I'm so ready. I am so ready. People are not ready, bro. They're not.
I'm really excited to like just drop this new music and stuff. Like
yes. So for this online concert, is it gonna be like streaming it, or are you gonna like record it and then put it up like, and then say it's online, or how are you guys going about doing it?
Well, we really want to get back like that live experience. So it's gonna be live. So we're gonna be like streaming live from all the platforms. So from Facebook Live and Instagram Live. So it's gonna be like a live kind of concert experience. We're working out how the little, how we want to go about like the actual, like, I guess like flow of the event, but it'll be like a 15-minute kind of online concert. So it's going to be all three of us and maybe Roxy. So yeah, we're gonna be kind of just, it's gonna be like an IGTV kind of stream, you know.
Yeah.
Get some lights, get some little, little experience going, get a little energy, a little space, right? A little vibe.
Yes. So yeah, how about you guys tell me a little bit about, like, because you guys both released 2 little projects during this, I'm guessing during the quarantine. It says 2020, and freaking this coronavirus started like at the beginning of it. So I'm guessing you guys dropped it during this, or when did you guys drop your projects?
Well, my last project I dropped last year, and then I dropped a single, but Hat dropped a project called Grab Hits that we kind of collaborated on, and we dropped that like right when Rona hit, like right at the beginning.
Yeah, because I didn't think it was gonna like be this long, and I was trying to like drop it in hopes that people were gonna be in house just like listening to the vibes, and smoking and stuff, and then like a month later come out and like give them some hard copies of it, like do something like that. But like, yeah, it's called Grab Hits. It's a 4-song EP, and 2 of the beats I made and 2 of the beats she made, and the 2 beats she made she's featuring on, and I mixed and mastered the whole thing. I came up with the cover art, and she assisted me with the graphic design, cover art design, and yeah, all in house. Swag. No, I
produced the beats for Oh My I'm High and for Raisin Bake. And that's my first time, making a beat for somebody other than me. So I was real hyped.
Wow.
I think they're a vibe,
Yeah, they go pretty hard.
And TWIYA, your newest song is the one with Devh, right?
My newest song is called Honeybee, but I'm actually releasing on the weekend that the documentary premieres, because my 2 of my songs are in the film actually. That's like really exciting. So I have a song called Rain and a song called Float, and both of those I'm going to be releasing. So that's about to be like really crazy. But I had a song called Honeybee that's like, like a little hip hop vibe. And that's the most recently released one. So that one you can only hear right now on the website. It hasn't gone up on the platforms yet.
That's dope. So on one of Dev's latest singles, it says like September 14th on it. Is that like a date that we should look forward to, or what's going on with that one?
I don't know. Devh is a mystery. He be doing little sneak stuff and then like dropping a song like, hey, I'm about to drop a song, y'all. We'd be like, dang, like you didn't even let nobody know.
Wow.
So he'd be like, he's kind of like just like one of those artists that just gets inspired and then he just like rolls with it. And we just catching up with him all the time. So you'll have to ask him about that.
And I love all you guys do musically. Like your music's amazing, and when you guys come together, it's always amazing. I really enjoy your music, so I'm happy I was able to sit down with you guys, whether it's virtual or not.
Thank you so much,
man. That makes me feel seriously, man.
Yes. So, what is some advice that you guys both have for up and coming artists, creators, influencers? Start with you, TWIYA.
I would say just take the time to sit down and figure out who you are as an artist. Like, beyond like what you want to call your stage name, all of that is kind of like surface level stuff, like what kind of clothes you're going to wear and stuff. But just figure out like, who are you as an artist and what are you trying to put into the world, And then when you decide what that is, like stick to that, I think that's kind of my motto, right? Like, as the world is yours always, like you get to say and you get to create that. So just like stick to that and commit to that. And then like, really be authentic to who you are and be courageous enough to like be who you are. There's always going to seem like there's like another artist that's better than you, or more people like them online, or they have like a lot of Instagram posts, or what I'm saying, like more people seem to like be feeling their vibe. But there's fans out there for everybody. I've heard so many different kind of genres and subgenres of music. Like, your fans are out there. The people who are on your vibe are out there. So just like stay true to yourself and just do your thing.
Yes.
For me, my advice, to piggyback off of what she was saying, off being yourself, but invest in yourself, because I think a lot of people don't really know what investing in yourself really is and what it feels like. And it took me a while, because I thought I was investing in myself by hanging around like people who like were getting their own equipment, and I was like helping them buy their equipment, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm investing in myself, you know, those are my homies, you know what I'm saying? So they're gonna help me out at the end of the day. But then it's like, you know, you can't expect people to do really anything for you, and you can't depend on anyone
them
out
to
here,
take your
you know what I'm
career
saying?
more importantly.
Yeah, you have to take your career and the most important above everyone else's career, because no one else is going to do it. And like with that said, like invest in yourself, go out. If you're a recording artist, make sure you know everything about recording and everything about your voice and the microphone you're using, so you have something to bring to the table just in case you can't make beats, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's something, just to close it out, that's something that I was like having trouble with, because I felt uncomfortable being with producers and just being a rapper, you know, not to say that just being a rapper, you know what I'm saying, because rapping is a whole art within itself. But I just felt uncomfortable because it was too easy for them to take control of my art.
You have the language, right? The language to make sure that it sounds like you.
Yeah, and so that's why I say invest in yourself and make sure you know what you're bringing to the table, because then you will be able to like put your all into it, you know, and be able to have ownership on that, you know.
Yes, it's like when you need to get your car fixed or something, and they're always like, "Oh, actually, this is wrong with your car too," and you're like, "Oh, maybe it is, because I have no idea what this is part of my car."
Exactly, and they tax you for that not knowing, bro.
Yes.
Oh my God. So like, see, if you have a car, know the car that you have. You don't have to be the best mechanic,
but know your car.
Know your car and know what your car has.
Yes.
You know?
For sure. Well, I really appreciate you guys. I end the podcast. Oh, first, actually, what is the easiest way for people to reach you?
You can reach us on Instagram at No Idol Music. You can reach me personally at TWIYA Music. That's TWIYA. The road is yours always. And Pat at?
You can reach me at noidolmusicgroup.com and on Instagram, STP ampersat, because that's the real.
Let you do another @
That's the real name for the @ symbol, and they won't let me put the @ symbol.
Oh,
so
wow.
ampersat, AMPERSAT, STP ampersat.
Awesome. Well, I end the podcast by saying this is the NAST Podcast, and each guest says their name. So we'll start from TWIYA, then go to St. Pat. So this is the NAST Podcast with
TWIYA
and St. Pat.
Awesome.